Good afternoon, fellow traders. It's Black Coffee Trader. Today is a Monday, August 11th. Time to do the daily recap, and I had a red day today, unfortunately, but we had a red day, and I've got a few things to talk about. So as you can see, we're down basically 1,500, about 200 bucks per account. One trade today, looking for a break and retest of the 23,780s on the NASDAQ, and it ended up being a fail. The trade looked great. I want to show you the snippet from TradeZella. So here's today. Let's go to this specific trade right here. And as you can see here, I was looking for a break and retest of the 23,780. Tried to hold but failed. But look at this beautiful setup. Nice pullback. I was patient, waited for it, started to push out. Great setup. And it just simply didn't work, which that's okay. Here's what I really want to talk about. I did some searching over the weekend. I went through every one of my red trades for the last several months, and I noticed something quite interesting. Every time, not sometimes, not most of the time, but every time, the first trade that I take is a red trade. If let me rephrase that. If the first trade I take is a losing trade, the day ends up getting worse. Every time. Like, it's not even a question. It was just something that came to me over the weekend, and I decided to double check it because I was thinking through these couple of days, and I remembered being red on the first trade and it getting progressively worse. And so I looked for the last 3 months at every losing day, every red day, and that's what I found. If I lose on the first trade, typically it gets worse. There have been some days where I've made a little bit back, but I still end up with a red day every stinking time. So very easy to implement a new rule. If that first trade is red, I'm done. And that's exactly what we did today. I had a losing trade on the first trade, and so I walked away. And you know what? I love that because it should help me stay away from these bigger red days. You know, this should be about a max red day, 1,500 bucks. You know, until I add more accounts, obviously that could go up. But here's the other thing. If I have a winning green day, if I have one or two winning trades, the chances are pretty high that I'll make up more than that in a winning trade. So anyway, we'll see where it goes, but it was really quite mentally freeing for me today after I realized that, and I went into this morning with that game plan. I was not really hoping to have a red day today, but it's where it ended up. But it was easier to walk away. So that's that. I'm not too worried about it. We're going to continue to march on, and I know that I'm not going to lose every time on the first trade. That is for sure. But looking at the market today, I kind of expected that we might go sideways, and we absolutely did. ES and the NASDAQ had a little bit of a pullback day. The Dow Jones was yucky. Pullback, really kind of a pullback day, but really in the sideways trend. The Russell did nothing, completely sideways. So spot on with the analysis there this morning, which I'm happy about. I did, you know, today's trading session here, it was just difficult. I wish I would have waited in hindsight and looked for the break and retest short below the high of day from Friday. The difference was there's a bit of a discrepancy because at the time that let's go back up a little bit on the ES, we broke below Friday's high of day at 12:45, and we didn't break the Friday's high of day on the NASDAQ until 1:40 in the afternoon, so a couple of hours later. So that created very much a bit of a divergence there, if you will. So definitely kind of a little bit, I've noticed that before, when you have one ES above like the previous day high and the NASDAQ below it, it just creates some choppy, uninteresting price action. But had we waited for that and taken this short, that could have ended up being a nice trade. This area right here was really choppy. So would not have been the most comfortable trade to be in, but one could have taken that trade and ended up with a little bit of a win. But anyway, we tried that one. It didn't work. The positive today was on the evals. I had a pretty good day, 200 to 400 per account. So we're kind of back up to pretty much where we were. Not quite where we were, but we're getting closer. So again, just trying to work on slowly getting these across the finish line. And I really want to get these 5 take profit accounts passed, and then try to get all of these Apex accounts passed as well. Which we still have a couple of weeks left to go before those rebuild. So we got some time, and we've got a handful of them here that are getting pretty close. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them that are over 2,000 to 2,500 in profit. All the 150s are 3 to 4 to 5,000 in profit, so those are sitting pretty good. And then these take profit accounts were at 1,000 and 2,000 basically in profit on those. So again, that's really the goal, is to get those passed and then increase the funded accounts and continue to trade well. So, but here's the interesting thing. If you look at the NASDAQ on the evals, because I do copy trade all those together. Look at what I did. This was a test trade this morning. I was having some issues with NinjaTrader. This was a test short, and so I just threw the trade on to see if everything was working. It was ended up being a $50 loser. I did take this long, had to sit through this a little bit, but that really was a beautiful long if one would have taken it to bounce off the high of day from Friday. So I took that long for a winning trade, and I took this short for a really nice winning trade as well, not a losing trade. Took this short. That's kind of the one I was talking about that I probably should have waited on the funded account. So, traded my plan, traded my levels. We were, break, retest that level. This was a test. This is not really a good representation of a typical setup, but this one here, we retested it, go long. This one here, we broke through, kind of a retest there, take that short. On the ES, I took one trade on my eval accounts. That was also a break and retest of this high of day from Friday. Took that short for a little bit of a win there. So, it was just a losing day on the funded account. Took this one long and it didn't play. So tomorrow's a new one. So that's where we're at. But really happy with the mentality. And again, a red day is a red day, and I just know that if I trade my strategy, it's going to be fine. And I'm really, really looking forward to trying to really adhere to this one. If the first trade is a losing trade, just walk away, just be done. If it's $100, if it's $200, if it's $80, whatever the case may be, it keeps those red days smaller. So big win for me mentally here today. And the other thing too, I had some issues this morning with NinjaTrader. I did not have my cumulative order flow delta on here when I took this trade, and that was a little bit of a problem as well. I'm so used to that. In fact, it's probably the indicator that means the most to me right now. I would probably get rid of any other indicator and just use this one, if anyone. I really, really like this cumulative order flow delta. It shows you that volume. And as this trade was breaking down, it was really sluggish to break down, and I kept holding. I initially was going to get out right here at about a 15-point drawdown, and I just kept holding because it kept feeling like it's not going to break down. And on the ES, it was breaking down a little bit more quickly than on the NASDAQ, but I couldn't see this order flow, couldn't see this order volume. And had I seen that, I would have definitely exited that trade right here, because the volume started to push down. As you can see here on these red candles, we started to get some heavy push down as this was starting to build. And that's a little bit on me. I probably could have avoided having quite a $200 loss today, but at the end of the day, it's not a $300-400 loss, and that's what matters. So. But anyway, that's where we're at. Also, quick note, just a reminder that Take Profit Trader extended their sale, so that 40% off, no activation fee, and your eval fee refunded at your first payout is extended for one more week. They rarely extend sales. A Take Profit Trader rarely extends sales, so pretty huge of them to extend that for one more week. So again, I just want to say thank you to those of you that use my code with Take Profit Trader and with Apex, with TradeZella. I've also got to add to that little banner that you see right now, I've got to add QuantGuard to that. But anyway, I do know that QuantGuard did get the approval with Tradeovate, so Tradeovate is coming with QuantGuard, so you can use that software and create some parameters for your trading and avoid blowing your accounts. It's huge. It's awesome. There's the extended sale with Take Profit Trader, that banner that you see right now. So don't miss that if you're using Take Profit Trader. Use someone's code and take advantage of that deal. Thanks for using my code, those of you that do. And yeah, once again, just appreciate you guys. Thanks for following along. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for supporting the channel. I do appreciate it very much. Hopefully you guys had a better day than I did today. Not quite where we wanted to be, but the market kind of went in the expected direction. So tomorrow we obviously have CPI news. I do expect that to make a move. Looking at some of the forecasting that I'm seeing on CPI, the expectation is for it to be up. And so there's a good chance that if that happens, the market may trend downward. So we'll see if tomorrow may be a red day on the market. Again, that could completely change with the news and how everything comes out, but there is that possibility. And if we do that, obviously we could see some corrections from where we're at. And the market really seems to be leaning that direction at some kind of a pullback again. But nevertheless, we'll see what happens. So anyway, I'm gonna quit rambling. Good day today, even though it was a red day. I feel good about it. I'm happy with my mentality. Get out when I'm wrong and move on with life. So big win for me, and I feel good about that. So again, thanks for following along. Appreciate y'all. Have a great night, and we'll catch up with you on the next one. Take care, and so long.